This is WJHS 91.5. It's the day where we do a little recap on the school board meeting, and we hear from Dr. Laura McDermott, and it's always great to get a kind of a second viewpoint and have an opportunity to ask questions or go through the information a little bit, just in case you haven't had a chance to check out the school board meeting itself, or maybe you had to punch out while you were listening to it here on WJHS. Of course, the school board meetings take place the third Monday of the month, and with everybody's crazy leading into the holiday schedules, it's nice to do a little recap. That being said, Dr. Laura McDermott, the superintendent, is our guest today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy holidays.
Right.
Pretty soon.
Pretty soon. So there was a bunch of things that went on last night. So let's just dive right into it. Where would you like to begin with our celebrations, with some of our discussions? Budgeting is always a thing. Our celebrations are, there's a bunch of stuff going on. Where should we kick off today?
Well, we had several students there last night to lead the pledge, and Mr. Mullet was celebrating for the middle school. So Mr. Wes Mullet, principal of Indian Springs Middle School, was there with both his championship volleyball team and coach and his championship cross-country team and coach. And so they led the pledge and also just talked about their seasons and things like that. So they were there for recognition.
Doing a little showing off.
Absolutely.
As is worthy. These practices, I don't know if I could do some of the stuff athletically anymore. So I appreciate their performances. Of course, we were talking about before we came on the air, the Bishop Luer Columbia Cities game going into overtime last night. The girls definitely have been putting up some great numbers, great stats, great teamwork, sadly falling in overtime to Bishop Luer 65-55. If you didn't catch the end of the game, we weren't able to stay up both that late last night.
That's right. But we do have some phenomenal athletes, and just the number of students that are involved in athletics at the middle school and the high school. Both teams, both volleyball and cross country, their numbers were down because the kids were participating in other sports, either basketball or whatever. They weren't able to be there because they were in games other places.
It is fun how it ebbs and flows like that year over year. But the one that always strikes me is it seemed like everyone, what was it, this last year, 2 years ago now, was in wrestling. And I was just like, whoa, I never knew how, there's always been wrestlers, but in my rooms in particular, it felt like there was like half the class we're all grapplers. And I'm like, oh, geez, okay. So it is interesting how things fall into each other. But you know what? It's kind of another classroom all in itself, being part of the team, learning a sport, learning a game, learning techniques, developing not only yourself physically to play that game, but also strategically, mentally, however, if you will, and then the social aspect, of course.
Yes. Well, and then Mr. Mullet stayed on and talked with the board about his focus with his teachers and his teachers' focus on knowing their kids this year and the amount of time they're spending just small group instruction, really doing more one-on-one and small group with their kids after they present a lesson, sitting down, talking to the kids. What did you understand from that? What do you still have questions about? That kind of thing to help improve their learning and comprehension of whatever it is that they happen to be teaching. And it's showing marked improvement in their scores. So.
Being intentional
Absolutely.
About breaking down after a project and getting one-on-one with staff. Individual attention. Wonderful. Love it. And this is Mr. Mullet at the middle school.
That's correct. Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to have to differentiate there.
Mr. Wes Mullet at the middle school.
And then Lori Hewer, our talent development director, was there because the room was about half filled with teachers with our employability skills coaches. So through one of the grants, Mrs. Hewer and Mrs. Reef, our Director of Innovation and Technology, wrote, they were able to hire employability skills coaches. So we have several at the high school, I think 4 at the high school, 3 or 4 at the middle school, and then 2 at each of the elementaries. And they're all teachers, and those teachers work together as a team. They meet regularly, and those are the people behind our Pride initiative, that persistence, respectfulness initiative, dependability, efficiency, and they're helping plan the whole career focus piece, K-12, so kindergarten to senior. So they're helping with the essential experiences at each grade level, that kind of thing. So they lead that. So they presented to the board last night, and we're talking about what they're doing and the work they're doing. It's actually interesting, too. Lori Hewer and Mrs. Jennifer Reef went to Arizona to present at the Ford NGL conference.
It's the next generation learning.
Yes.
which is great. Ford is looking at literally the next generation with this teaching, and it ties back in. And I love this. I'm so jealous for my own education that employability skills are being related back to this. So Mrs. Reef, Mrs. Hewer were in Arizona. Please continue your story.
They presented, and we are Columbia City, right here in Indiana, is the national model. The national model, kindergarten through 8th grade, for how to implement kindergarten through 8th grade, how to implement that model. So just...
You're showing off in Arizona.
Absolutely. And the Ford people have taken note and have named us the national model.
Okay. I was teasing Jennifer about hey, first, you took over a building, and then second, you took over the school, and now you're taking over the United States. And so I've been teasing, like, today, Columbia City, tomorrow, Indiana, next week, somewhere we'll get to the United States. And then lastly, when are you going to be world dominating? But it is fun to see that recognition. And I think in some ways you can feel that energy among not just Mrs. Reef, Mrs. Hewer, but you can feel it among the kids and the staff that are involved, that they know they're doing something that's not just here, that's not just in the classroom, but that it reaches out to the surrounding community, our surrounding businesses. And I can easily see a lot of these future employees, not just being employees, but managers and business starters, and maybe I'm glass half full kind of guy, but I definitely am enjoying this program.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we will see dividends in the near future and, many years to come, generations, hopefully, moving forward.
And it's nice to see that Ford has recognized us as the official chapter.
Yes. And we'll be seeing some visitors, I think, coming through fairly soon. And everybody wants to mark on their calendar February 22nd.
Okay.
Because that's our Ford Next Generation Learning Community designation. And it'll be here at the high school. It'll be in the evening. We don't have a time yet, but we'll have higher-ups from Ford. We'll have higher-ups from the Ford Next Generation Learning Group. Hopefully we'll get the mayor and anybody else we can get. Of course, teachers, staff, everybody from the district to show up, and students. Hopefully we'll have some testimonials from students who've participated, K-12, really talking about what's going on here at Whitley County Consolidated.
So when the date gets a little bit closer, we'll probably have some more information. But February 22nd, I wrote that down really quick just so I wouldn't miss it, here at the high school to kind of celebrate, I guess you could say, the Ford NGL grant and work being tied with Columbia City. So we'll of course have to talk more about that. I'm looking forward to it. Do you think there'll be cake?
Oh, absolutely.
Celebratory cake.
Yes. And there'll be treats, hors d'oeuvres and things like that. It's going to be a meet and greet.
Did you just do a pun? M-E-A-T and greet, or M-E-E-T and I need to drink some more coffee. It has been I have been super congested, so I feel like I've been on the decongestants and things like that, and they mess with your sleep schedule, man. But you did the pun. I've been trying all day not to do any puns, and you started it. Okay. Plenty to talk about, though. That one definitely a notable event here. In the interest of time, unless there was something else you would like to talk about, what else happened all at the school board meeting?
We have had lots of action items. So the board approved the Columbia City High School course description guide, and there were some new classes that were laid out in that course description guide. And Mr. Brady Mullet was there to explain and walk everyone through that. And there was a new pathway involved, the human and social services pathway that was approved. We also had new purchase of new buses was approved. I think we're buying 4 new buses. I was trying to think what else because I lost my notes.
Oh, no.
My notes, yeah.
Oh, no.
On my phone.
So new buses with racing stripes, per the request.
Yeah, they are. We do request certain things on our new buses, so they are built to our specifications.
Racing stripes, Columbia City colors, no worries there.
Yeah,
and
no
then,
worries
of course,
at all.
approving a new pathway. Just to explain while we gather our thoughts, thinking about what all happened last night that was significant we wish to share. The pathways, you could say that there's multiple ways to graduate. And one is getting enough credits just in the overall general education of the school. A pathway is a select defined, not that the classes didn't exist before, but it sounds like they're expanding. Classes shuffle around and change every year per state parameters. But a pathway is just if you have a concentration, a way to build from level 1 of learning to level 2, level 3, level 4. Different pathways have different requirements, of course. In the past, we've had different academies that are related to pathways, and it sounds like this one, HHS, Health Human Sciences. Forgive me, I missed the name.
It's under the HHS. It's
okay.
Health, Human and Social Services.
Human and Social
a
Services.
Specific pathway. Yes.
So what's great about that is we're able to identify and look at either the state level or seeing areas of demand for careers and the future, and then cater student education to that, hey, this is a legitimate and fully developed idea that could serve you as a career. And then, well, okay, let's find the career and then work backwards from there. What do we need for education? So, for instance, in my courses in media design classes, we start with broadcasting. We start with principles of broadcasting. Then we move forward into intro to communications, as well as going right along to audio-video production. And lastly, normally the terms such as concentrator course or the introductory course.
Capstone.
Yes, capstone. Thank you. I couldn't think of that. And there's different levels, but you take that model and you copy and paste the same sort of levels to a different career field, a different career path, a different mentality, and it's good to see another way to graduate with some credentials, with, in a lot of instances, certifications that help lead into and lean into a future career, especially for those students who know what they have an interest in. It gives them a chance to sample that a little bit and gain some credibility. But man, again, jealous for my own education.
Well, and that one would specifically be for kids who are interested in being a therapist or a social worker or a counselor or Department of Child Services, HR, Human Resource Director.
All very much in demand fields, not just here in Indiana, but around the country.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Absolutely. And then the other one that I had forgotten about that I wanted to point out, Mr. Nelson was there, Kyle Nelson, assistant principal from the middle school. He was the chairperson for our calendar committee. So the board also approved the 2024-2025 school calendar. So everybody make sure, get your copies so you can make your plans, vacation plans.
Excellent.
For the following school year. And it will very much mirror this school year.
Excellent. So calendars are out Ford NGL's being awesome. We talked up our volleyball team and how they're doing great. Of course, all of our athletics. We've talked about me and how our program here kind of is a similar copy and paste style of formatting towards alternative ways to graduate. New academy coming on board. What else happened at the school board meeting last night? Action items.
That was pretty much it. I mean, we did talk. We have a materials adoption process that the board approved last night, but other than that, that was pretty much the board meeting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Anything on the horizon for yourself in the superintendent position you wish to let people know about? Big plans for the holidays or anything down those lines?
No, just some visits from my little gremlins from Chicago, my daughter and her daughters. So they're all coming over to spend the holidays with us. How about you?
We're going to visit nieces and nephews in Fort Wayne. And my parents just bought a house in Fort Wayne, so we're checking that out. Though things should be good. Things should be good. Man, life keeps moving. That is for sure.
Very fast. Yes.
Thank you for coming in and, as always, being in the studio just to share a little bit about what's been happening at the school board and at the larger level of Whitley County Consolidated Schools. Friendly reminder, February 22nd, if you want to celebrate with here at the high school, the Ford NGL event coming up, of course, be looking for more information about the specifics on that. That right there is Dr. Laura McDermott, our superintendent of Whitley County Consolidated Schools. Always great to have you in.
Thank you.